You're listening to the Be Forever Cool podcast. My name is Rex45. Tonight we got the real Luis Ortega in the building. Reese from Attack Yamaha. What's going on, fellas? How you doing this week?
What's going on, man? All good. All good. Just a long weekend. Ready to go home.
Same here. Long weekend, lots to do, but a lot of good racing this weekend. So made the weekend, unfortunately, go too fast, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, that's true. The weekend, a month, dude. I'm going to Boston, and I'm like, I got 2 weeks, and I looked at today's date. I'm like, I'm going to Boston next week. This month is flying by, which is pretty wild. But I guess we must be having some fun in all the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we are.
Nice. Well, let's jump into it. We had MotoGP in Austria, and we had MotoAmerica in mid Ohio.
Yep.
Man, what a crazy weekend from a spectator standpoint. Watching from here, I was gonna text you a couple of times, and I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna say nothing. Leave him alone. We'll start with Luis, and I'll give my thoughts, and then we'll hear your thoughts, Reese, since you were there. Luis, man, what did you think of the overall race weekend between Superbike? Let's go Superbike, and we'll talk Supersport because that was interesting too. What are your thoughts about the Superbike races Saturday and Sunday?
Superbike race Saturday was great. It was kind of in line with what I thought. I actually didn't think I would see a stock 1000 bike, on the podium, because I thought it would be straight super bikes on the podium, but we definitely had a stock 1000 bike, so that was good to see. Shows that Honda is still a bit competitive out there and getting more competitive, and who knows, man, maybe next year they'll have a legit super bike team, not just a super stock team with super bike ambitions. And on Sunday, I'm glad to see Cameron finally hit that milestone. Like, that's a big milestone for him to hit, to be the all-time wins leader in Superbike, or in the between MotoAmerica, AMA, DMG AMA, all the other AMAs that were in there in the mix between MotoAmerica. So it's good that, and I know on the opposite end of the spectrum, Josh Hayes has held that record for a long time. So it's bittersweet to see his record fall, but that's what records are made for, man. They're made for somebody else to come along and eventually knock you off that pedestal, take that spot. And, down the road, there's some young kid right now that's starting out on Twins Cup. His ambition is going to be to knock Cameron Bobby off that pedestal. So that's, that's how the world works. I wasn't too happy with some of the results from Sunday. There was some questionable passes made by somebody, and it caused somebody to drop back quite a ways, but he was able to fight himself back onto the podium. It wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy task to get back past that next 7 or 8 riders that he fell behind, because those guys, even though they weren't all on super bikes, they're all fast guys. They all know how to ride. They have the craft. There were all names up there. There weren't any nobodies between second and 8th place. But my boy Bobby was able to gather himself up, scrub the tires a little bit, get past that first lap after running off, put his head down, and get back onto the podium. So at least he walks away from the weekend with a decent points lead now, versus just a couple of points. He's got a decent point lead. He can't rest on his laurels. I mean, Cameron Bobby is there, Josh Everett's still there, but now he's at least got a little bit of breathing room, and that does help when you're in the lead like that and you're just 1 or 2 points. It does wear on you, man. And then luckily or unluckily, the person that caused the incident, later on ended up getting tangled up with somebody else and went back in the crash truck. So maybe a little bit of karma for trying to end somebody's day prematurely, for doing something that you shouldn't be doing.
Do you think under, and I say normal circumstances, but I'm thinking about the Saturday races with all the mishaps. That was I don't know how long that spill was, but that was a long spill that they were trying to race around. and the stuff that happened to Herron in race 1. Do you think he was just a little bit out of his comfort zone in race 2?
I think he was overreaching on his ambition. Race 1, obviously, there was a major oil slick there. I'm actually surprised.
Casey Stoner.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised that, I'm surprised that the track didn't do a better job of cleaning up the oil spill. I know it's really hard to do that, but there obviously was still some debris out there, because when those guys were running over that kitty litter or that dry fast, it was slick. There was a lot of guys, rear tires spinning up. A lot of front ends looked like they were ready to go away. Personally, I think MotoAmerica might have done a little bit of a better job of inspecting and make sure that the track was in a little bit better shape, because it really wasn't in great shape when they restarted it.
Right.
Which is sketchy, that's a really fast part of the track. There's a braking duel that happens there. 3-4 bikes can fan out. And, one bike goes down, you can take out 3-4 riders real quick in that real tight, slow corner after a long, long straightaway. So I'm surprised that MotoAmerica didn't do a better job. But this is racing. You have to race in the conditions that you're in. Sometimes the track's not in good conditions. Sometimes the weather's not good conditions. Sometimes your tire's not good conditions. But you grit your teeth and you try to find a way to finish the race. Or you could do a Pecco. You could be like, nah, I'm just going to pit.
Well, some riders did pit. We'll talk about MotoGP. Sometimes it's unsafe for Lewis. Sometimes it's just a little unsafe.
The bubbly Michelin man says there's nothing wrong with his tire.
Yeah. We definitely saw something there. Reese, let's bring you in and talk about the weekend. Did it go according to plan? Do you feel it was more of a thing with the number 1 plate in race 2 that kind of put your guy back a couple of spots? How did you see it from on the inside?
From the inside, to say it is racing is racing. It was the pass. We could probably went on the inside. He could probably went on the inside and now standing up. But hey, we thank God that, Bobby was able to keep it upright. I'm proud of the guy. He rode his behind off to come all the way back to third. I think, I want to say maybe 2 more or 3 laps, he would have at second place. So, now, we were going to be up by 10. Now we're up 17 points over Cameron, and I think it's 27 over Josh. For overall, the weekend was good. Race 1 was really good. We wanted to win. We came out with the win. Race 2, we wanted to win to get the maximum points, but hey, we'll take a weekend. In that kind of situation, in that kind of atmosphere, we'll take it. We're going here now to kind of their home for BMW and Ducati, going into Coda. We're going to Horsepower Alley. So, we're kind of right where we need to be now. Just kind of play a little bit of defense until we can kind of get the Jersey, or see if we can steal one in Coda, and then head over to Jersey and take control of it.
Okay, got you. How surprised is not the right word, but Cameron getting pole position. Were you guys a little nervous there? You got the win in race 1, so I guess it wasn't too much nerves.
You didn't. You could say a little bit nervous because if Cam gets out in front and puts his head down, and he could put those laps together and kind of take off. But Bobby was on a hot pace. His laps all were there. He was very consistent all weekend. His laps were right on, spot on with Cam, so they weren't too far. Right, so we had a very good shot at everything. Like I said, just race 1 with the oil spill, that was kind of sketchy. But that's one of the real passing zones on that track, and it's a hard braking passing zone. So everybody, if you watch, almost everybody was kind of slow, tiptoe going on the inside. And I'm proud to say on record that I'm proud of JD for getting a super stock up there. He was the only one that went on the outside of the
Right.
on the slick. So I mean, it was good.
Got you. Do you think that, after JD's performance and how his performance been kind of all season, because he's kind of been up there for just a stock 1000 bike, you think there's a good chance of Honda coming full-fledged Superbike next year?
One can only hope. I mean, from what I understand, the bike that Gillum is on is a super bike, from my understanding.
Okay.
They have the full rig. I mean, they have Miguel Duhamel's old rig out there, so that's in pristine shape. So, I mean, hopefully next year they do run 2 super bikes and run it out there. I mean, there's going to be some changes coming in 27, I think. So, one can only hope.
Got you. Lewis, man, super sport class. Were you guys surprised at what Cam Peterson was doing? Because he seems to be, throwing a little bit of, I don't know. He's getting in the way, right, of the championship with the other guys. The way he was running this weekend. Are you a little bit surprised? I just figured he was going to come along as they've been sorting things out all season.
No, I mean the dude could ride. I didn't think the dude was not going to be in the top 5. If you look at the people that are in the top 5 or 6 in super sport, ex superbike rider, ex superbike rider, ex superbike rider, ex superbike rider, Blake Davis. It's like that's your top 5 right there, and he should be there. I mean, the dude is a fast guy. He knows how to ride bikes. He's been on a super bike, and he just needed to sort a little bit out on the V2. And I guess he sorted out the couple of things. He's got the feel that he wants. He's got the feedback that he wants from the bike, from the tires, from the package. We know that the V2 is not slow. I mean, it's won championships, or it's won previous to Schultz. I mean, it won the previous 2 or 3 super sport championships. So we know it can win.
Right.
So it's just a matter of the right guy sitting on the bike and getting it up there. I mean, PJ shows that the bike's competent. Cam is just as competent a rider as anybody else in the front. And it's just a matter of him putting everything together. I don't mind him being in the mix because, again, you have to win a championship. I don't have to give you a championship. I don't have to move out of your way so you can win a championship. Now, I don't want to disrupt the championship either and crash into you and take you out and break your leg or hurt you and cause you a championship. But if I'm racing for 3rd and you're in 2nd and I can catch you, I'm not going to let you keep 2nd just because you're racing for a championship. I don't give a what you're racing for. I'm racing for food. I got bills to pay too. So whether you 1st or 2nd, if I'm right behind you, I tell everybody, man, in top level racing, the guy in 15th place will kill the family of the guy in 14th place for 14th place. You think I won't go after you for 2nd or 1st place? All day, man. All day. So let him do what he's got to do. As long as he's not taking people out, as long as he's not riding super dirty or anything like that. If he's a clean, fast rider and he can get to the front, let him be a clean, fast rider. You got to win that championship. Nobody's going to hand it to you. And Schultz is the same way, man. He's a take no prisoners kind of guy. And if he's in 2nd place and he can get 1st, he's going to do whatever he's got to do. If he's in 4th, he can get 3rd. He's going to do it. So again, I like the championship. I like how close it was this weekend. Like, it was the closest that I've seen it for the most part between 1st and 5th in a couple of races, because the last couple of races, the top 2 or 3 have kind of walked away from everybody else and left them in the dust. But this track, the design of the track, the flow of the track kept everybody kind of bunched up. So it was fun. I enjoyed the overall weekend in super sport, and I like the results too. We still have a championship battle going on. There's still a possibility that somebody other than Schultz will end up at the top of the pile there at the end of the year.
Got you. Reese, man, who was the bigger winner of the weekend, PJ or Schultz? I mean, they kind of flip-flop between race 1 and race 3 positions.
Say that again. I didn't hear you.
I was saying, which one of the 2 riders came out better, Schultz or PJ, or it was kind of break even just based on swapping positions?
I mean, the bigger picture. I mean, I think it was Schulte. I mean, Schultz came out a bigger picture of that one. He had a good battle on his hands with PJ and Cam. I mean, Cam P was right there. But you can see that I think they were struggling a little bit, and they kind of figured out in race 2 what they needed to figure out to get that bike up there. So I think overall, I think Matt came out the bigger picture with that. He came back out on top, like it swapped places again. So I would give that to Matt, all day. Like it was a bigger picture there.
Yeah, I would say the Yamaha, they're going to be selling a lot of R9s next year after the race 2. The R9 was pulling on a V2, bro.
Because it's stock. It's right from the showroom floor. Only thing they changed was they removed the headlights and bodywork. That's it. It's 100% stock.
100% stock, man. That's a fast Japanese bike.
Who said it was stock? Who said it was stock?
The thing is, you sell the perception of the bike that when you go to a dealership and buy an R9, your R9 can do what these guys' R9s can do, and your R9 can't do what these guys' R9s can do. Unless you plan on buying the R9. Dropping it off at a tack with a check for like 60 grand and then picking it up a month later. Then your bike can do it. Not you can do it, but your bike can do it.
I mean, you think the R1 can do it too? If you go buy an R1.
I mean, at least a stock R1's got 200 horsepower.
Well, I mean, JD showing that a stock 1000 Honda can get on the podium. So, anything might be possible.
Super stock is super not stock.
Just sounds like once you're on a racetrack, there's nothing that's stock anymore.
No. There's nothing stock no more once you hit that track. It's all gas and go.
Yeah. Louis, you talked about the top 5 or top 6 in Superbike. You can probably kind of say the same thing about the top 5, 6 in Supersport as well. Seems like they were pretty close, even though Kayla was maybe a little slower in the pack of 6 compared to the other riders. She's still like, there's the riders in front of her, and then the riders behind her. It seems like she's been pushing that these last few rounds. It seems like they all kind of coming in their own overall on the in the Supersport as well.
We talked about this earlier this season. I said from the beginning of the season she would be in the lower half of the top 10 because realistically in Supersport there's 10 to 12 really good riders, and then in some races they pack the field with local expert riders and everything else, but there's 10 or 12 true and tried every weekend. They're there to race Supersport riders. And she's in the middle of that pack of 10 to 12. And that's, she's showing the results of where she belongs. She belongs in that mid top 10 area. I think as she rides more and she gets more experience, you'll see her start to creep up a little bit more. As she gets more physically strong too, because if you look at the guys at the front, these guys are in amazing shape. And, everybody at that top level, you need to be in amazing shape. You need to exercise. You need to be strong. So I think as she gets a little stronger, gets a little bit more confident with the bike, you'll start to see her start breaking into that top 5 a little bit more often. And as some of the guys that are at the front now maybe move back up to Superbike, that'll give her an opportunity to move a little bit further ahead in the pack and maybe start to be a regular top 4, top 5 rider and compete for some more podiums. I mean, right now, the top 5, man, it's just such a stacked deck of cards, man. It's just the ace of spades, the ace of diamonds, the ace. It's just ace, and like a king and a queen. It's like, so some of these aces, they're great because they help the king and queen get stronger. I mean, Blake Davis will tell you he learns more every weekend following these guys and racing with these guys than he would have ever learned racing with kids of his own age.
Right.
And the same thing is going to happen with her. When she can now start to keep up with them and see them and keep them in sight, she's going to learn as well. Her racecraft is going to get better, and it's just going to help her progress. And I look forward to that, man. I look forward to more of these younger kids getting the opportunity to move up there because, I mean, some of the Twins Cup kids, they had really promising Twins Cup careers and moving into sport bike. We thought we were going to see them at the pointy end of the sword, and they've all kind of disappeared, dude.
Yeah.
Like I don't see a Max Van anywhere. I see him walking around, but I don't see him competitive in super sport. You know, all these guys that were in Twins Cup or Junior Cup, they kind of disappeared, man. Like either they're not on good bikes, or you know what, they kind of reached their podium level, their crescendo level of talent, and now, you know, you have to work harder because you run out of talent. The only way to get to the next step is working harder. And maybe some of these guys aren't working hard. You know, Casey Stoner said something that I've said for years, but he finally said it on TV. So it matters now, because when I say it, doesn't mean shit. But when Casey Stoner says it, it means the world. He said, you know, hard work will beat talent until talent decides to work hard. And a lot of these kids raced on talent. And now that their talent is maxed out and they're not working hard, now you start to see the guys that are working hard exceeding the guys that just have talent. So you have to work hard with your talent. You can't just do one or the other.
And you know, and you mentioned that, and it's not a forgiving sport like in the NBA or baseball, where you can not work hard for some years and still be in the league.
Still making millions to ride the bench.
Right.
You know,
we won't say no names, but there's somebody that's played like 8 games in like the past 9 years, and he's still making a couple million.
Exactly. You know, which is the crazy part. So, you know, these guys that you're mentioning that were doing well in sprint, I mean in the Twins Cup, and now in super sport, how much time do you think they actually have? I mean, is it already too late for some of these guys that are struggling, or they probably going to just start reaching in their own pocket to to cover their future? I
mean, a lot of them are still reaching in their own pocket to cover their rides, but how long are you going to reach in your own pocket? That's the real question. You know, how long is daddy or mommy's money going to be able to cover you? Because I mean, you're 18 years old. I know you're not making $350,000 a year to cover paying for a ride. I know that you're not, you know, unless you're independently wealthy, hit the lottery. You got guys like Gus Rodeo. Gus Rodeo is a great rider. He's going to BSB, to finish off the season in BSB. But this entire season, he was trying to find ways to go ride and just couldn't find a ride, couldn't find funding, couldn't find this. Great talent. There's, no lack of talent there. You got Rocco Landers. Rocco Landers has bounced around all over the place. Twins Cup, Junior Cup, Baggers, anywhere he can find a ride, he'll take the ride. But, it's kind of, for me, it's a little bit derailing his career, because you can't just jump from series to series to series trying to find a home. Like, you got to find a home. But why doesn't he have a ride? The dude could ride. The guy's incredible talent. And again, at a certain point, it's like, you know what? Either people get tired of your shit. They don't want to ride with you because you're too much of a pain in the ass. Your parents are too much of a pain in the ass, or your check didn't clear. Check don't clear. You don't get a ride either. So.
Jay Gagne got on the podium for the first time in a long time. What was that like for you guys, seeing him up there and being competitive? Because even in qualifying, he qualified third. In the championship is so close as far as Fong. Like, what is the relationship like in the paddock with you guys? And is there like a plan for the next 2 rounds as far as working together to maybe get the championship? Reese?
It's not. Yeah, I'm here. It faded. I mean, we were happy to see Gagne up there. I mean, that was a blessing to see it. Maybe that gave him a bit of motivation to continue on and to work hard. I mean, he's got to get over that fact of, his fade on his muscles and his arm. I mean, just the fatigue is there. It's not fate. It's not where he has arm pump. It just has muscle fatigue. Mm-hmm. But that was a great. I mean, him and Bobby get along very well in the inside the trailer. I mean, they bounce. I walk through there and I hear them bouncing ideas or little different tweaks and tunes of the track. I hear them bouncing stuff off each other all the time. So, I mean, we want him to be up there. We want him to be. We know that his arm has he still has a fatigue. We just want him to be up there in the battle, at least show signs, get up there, work. I mean, little by little is coming along. So it's like, it's hard to say something negative. We all love Gagne. We want him to be here. We just got to get him up there. We just got to figure out what we can do to get his strength back in there.
Nice.
I think it's coming.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's good to see you. I'm looking forward to the next couple of rounds. It's gonna be crazy. Now you got the guys have 4 weeks off, so a lot of is that easy work for you guys to take this 4 weeks off, or you guys are just planning on working?
No, I mean, you got to stay on it, stay on the gas, and stay ready to go. And now it's just like how, Lewis was saying, hard work. We can't take our foot off the gas. This is when you actually got to put your foot on the gas and go even harder, because you don't want to lose anything that you already have. So now it's time to actually put our foot on the gas, because we got 2 rounds left. One is a tough round, so, we just gotta put our foot down and go even stronger and get ready for the big one of Coda, and then get ready for the three-headed monster of Jersey. And then like Greg said, I mean, Jersey always have that threat of the R word. Always have that threat.
Yeah.
R word, H word, T word, tornado, hail, hurricanes. You never know what you're gonna get at the end of September in Jersey.
Oh, it's
No,
Jersey.
we might get anything. It's Jersey,
Yeah.
man. That's home for me.
Same here, man.
Yeah.
We might get anything up there.
Yeah, I've seen anything up there. The times I've gone out there and raced and stuff, it's always fun. I still have some bad tent canopy memories. So hopefully the guys will be with you that weekend. It's Labor Day weekend, or it's
No, it's at the end of the month.
End of the month.
At the end of the month, yeah.
The guys will be with you guys, and it won't be too bad. But you never
Actually,
know.
I don't know if it still happens, but that's the time of year where it used to be Lord of the Flies. Like the entire track.
It still is.
It still gets just attacked by every fly in South Jersey. I remember I used to be like, yo, man, I feel like one of those Save the Children kids covered in flies asking for 5 cents a day to feed me. We used to be in the paddock with towels, just like, fans, everything, just covered in flies, man. Your bike goes out every session, you come back caked in flies.
Yeah, I do.
We get everything up there, man.
Yeah, everything near NOLA, another track. There's a lot of bugs. Ridiculous. Let's talk about MotoGP in Austria. After several weeks having off, we kind of called it a little bit as far as we knew Marquez was going to do his thing, but Bez, to see Bez on pole was pretty impressive. What are your thoughts, Lewis?
Well, I think I don't remember, but I believe my top 3 was Mark, Bez, and Alex.
I think so, yeah.
So I did have the right colors. I just had that blue guy wrong. Although I did say that Aldeguer was going to do good, I didn't think he was going to do that good.
Yeah.
But I think Bezzecchi was definitely showed the potential. But as I mentioned, this is a weird track. This is a track that, for some reason, levels the playing field if you've got the right amount of power. Because there's not a lot of, fast, flowy corners and this and that. Like, there's one chicane that they built just to kind of break up the top speed of that back straightaway so nobody gets killed.
Yeah, after Morbidelli and Zarco.
Yeah, and things like that. But the track itself is kind of like point, shoot, point, shoot, point, shoot. You slow down to like 40, 50 miles an hour some corner, come out of the corner, get on the gas, slow down again, get on the gas. There's a couple of places that you can pass, but that's also not a great place to pass unless you get real brave and do it going into the chicane or get a good drive coming out of the chicane. So I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised because I know the Aprilia does all that really well. The question is going to be when they get to those fast flowy tracks, when you get to your Sepang, when you get to Indonesia, when you get to Motegi and all these other places, then let's see how the Aprilia is going to do. Because I think Bezzecchi is the only guy that's really being competitive right now with Mark. Alex is starting to really falter, and we won't even talk about the other dude in red, because that's just embarrassing you.
Oh man, Reese, what are your thoughts on that? Aprilia, what they were able to do. I mean, Alex Marquez, for once, I thought the younger brother was gonna like just do that the whole weekend, even in the sprint where he was, you know, he said he made one mistake, and that one mistake cost him the win in the sprint. Do you buy that? And what are your thoughts, Reese?
No, I don't buy that for one bit. I'm like, you're going against somebody that's knows the sport, knows how to ride, can understand worn tires, and can just be at ease and having fun. Like, you're going against somebody that's very dominant, and you're going to say one mistake. If that one mistake cost you, then it was you had a problem a long time ago with that little one mistake. So, but like Lewis said, I was happy to see Bez up there. That was surprising a little bit. I mean, it was nice to see him. I know he had a podium, and I wanted him to be there. But the real surprise was the rookie of Aldeguer. I mean, I never expect it. It seemed like Mark was in a relaxed mode, and they showed the board and they showed Aldeguer. I could imagine what was going through his head. Like, are you serious? And he just stepped up and said, I'm leaving. So I was like, hey, man, you're coming up here with the Sharks. So, but that was a surprise to actually see that, and, you know, to see the young rookie actually step up that well. And I was happy for him. And, like, you know, the other guy in red, I mean, it's almost like stick a fork in it. It's over. It's done. It's well done.
Yeah, there's 8 rounds left, and the numbers are not favoring him at all, which is unfortunate. And Enea Bastianini, go ahead.
No, I said the numbers don't fade him at all.
Numbers don't favor him. None of them. I know he gets a little bit more because he's in the factory colors than Alex. But it doesn't. It is, you know, like you said, Bezzecchi seems to be the one that's saying, you know what, I'm not going to let this guy just get it. Even though Bezzecchi knows he's on an inferior bike compared to the Ducati. He's actually, I think, doing what everyone else can't do, or the closest one to doing that, which is pretty impressive.
Bezzecchi is 10 races behind Mark. Mark would have to eat shit 10 times, and Bezzecchi would have to win 10 in a row to catch Mark at this point. We don't have 10 races left.
No.
We ain't got 10.
yeah, we got 8 races. 16.
Well, we got
championship is a wrap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mathematically is not a wrap, but it's kind of a wrap. I mean, at this point, Mark, if he really wanted to, could come in 10th place for the rest of the season. And the other 3 guys behind him aren't consistent enough to come in for a second or third every race from here on out.
Right.
You know, so Mark is in the perfect position because he's not leading by 22 points where one DNF can crush you. I mean, his closest competitor is his brother. His brother is 140 points behind him. Like, right. That's 5 races. That's 5 DNFs. and I think Alex will get more DNFs than Mark will get DNFs from this point to the end of the year.
Right. But what you're seeing in Bastianini, in Acosta, in Bezzecchi, and in Fernand Aldeguer, these are guys that could take some points away from what Mark is doing.
They can, but again,
obviously Mark might still win a championship, but he may not go he's not going to just win every race until the end of the season.
I'm not going to say he's going to win every race, but if I had to put money down on who's going to win 70% of the races from now to the end of the season, I'll tell you who I'm going to put my money on. And it's not going to be Acosta. It's not going to be Bastianini. Like, I think Bezzecchi has a chance to win maybe 2 or 3 races between now and the end of the year, between sprints and races. Alex still has the opportunity to win a couple of races between now and the end of the year. I don't think I'm going to see Acosta on the top step anytime this year.
Okay. So you don't think KTM is going to be on the top, or just not Acosta? I mean, Maverick, it was tough to see Maverick.
Maverick was the one that had the opportunity, and now that he's injured, I don't know when he's going to come back. But if I had to put money on any KTM to be on the top step this year, it would be Maverick. Hands down. You know, like when the dude is on fire, the dude's on fire. The guy knows how to ride. As far as other Ducatis, the only other Ducatis that I see on the top step is Alex Marquez. I don't see anytime soon Pecco getting things together. You know, he is what he is, man. He's been relegated to third or fourth place.
Yeah. No,
I give it more fifth and sixth. I give it more fifth and sixth place. Sorry. I know you love him, Rex, but
oh no! Listen, the numbers don't lie, and you know, Market has that ability to ride around whatever issues that Digia and Bagnaia is having, and it's tough because, you know, a year ago we were thinking we were seeing that it was Ducati 1 through 6 a lot of times. This year we're starting to see it's 1, maybe 2. Yep. And 2 is switching between riders at the moment. So and that could be and I said this earlier, that could be pointing to a bigger issue with Ducati, because, you know, when you have only one guy that can consistently best everybody else, we saw what happened with that with other manufacturers in the past.
Yeah, but I mean, Alex just had a bad weekend this weekend, and he's had a couple since he got hurt, since he hurt his hand in that crash. He's had some inconsistency since that point. But Fermin Aldeguer, you know, he's on a Ducati, and he's not on a factory spec bike, and he still pulled. I mean, it was kind of a miracle, because you got to remember, that's the end of the race. You're supposed to be going slower, not faster. And this guy found a 7th gear with like 8 laps left that nobody else had. All of a sudden, he's a half a second faster than everybody else. You know, I know Mark manages the race after a certain point, but, you know, this kid, again, reckless abandon. I have nothing to lose, man. I'm not supposed to be here.
Right.
I'm supposed to be in the back with Agura and the entire Yamaha squad, 17th through 20th. I'm not supposed to be in 4th place at this point in the race. So fuck it. If I crash, nobody expects you to be here anyway.
Right.
Win it or mend it.
Yeah. I get a bonus if I get in the podium. Yeah. If not, I don't get a bonus. So whether it's in the crash truck or 4th place, I'm not going to see extra money. So let me try to get some extra money.
Gotcha.
For real.
What are your thoughts on that, Reese? I mean, there's a couple of other Ducatis there, but there's inconsistency. I'll say this with Alex Marquez: unless he's riding next to his brother, he tends to not be consistent. And we're kind of seeing that. We saw that a little bit before that he hurt his hand, and we're kind of seeing this a little bit. You know, is it more or less like Ducati still has that dominance, or, you know, these other manufacturers are starting to get a little bit closer, or is it Ducati just kind of, there's something going on with the bike?
I don't think there's nothing going on with the bike. I mean, because you got to look at it like Aldeguer was up there, you know, Marquez is up there. Well, Alex Marquez, and then you got Marc Marquez. So you have 3 Ducatis that can potentially be up in the top running, you know. And as a crew guy, a lot of riders always say, "Oh, it's the bike, it's the bike, it's the bike, it's the bike," but it's never on them. And they always will throw it that way. But when you come in, you keep saying it has no grip, no grip, no grip. Your crew can only do but so much. They can only make the bike do but so much, because if we do, let's say, X, Y, and Z over here to change it for your grip, now you might lose something over here that's going to make it worse. So it's your job as the keyword professional to now try to figure out and ride around that problem.
Right. But
you got to work with the tools you have, man.
You did see the highlights of Pecco's bike, making milkshake, right?
Yeah, you saw that. But then, Michelin did Michelin, and I totally believe Michelin. They have no reason to lie. I mean, they the best tire manufacturer in the world.
Okay.
They said they found nothing wrong with the tire.
Yeah, right.
No, it's probably the rim. I'm gonna blame the rim.
It was the wrong color.
The valve stem was too tight.
Listen, it does happen. Let's talk about the other manufacturers, though. Well, let's talk about the arrow on the Aprilia. I mean, I would break the rear tail section putting my leg over that bike. Like, is that a little bit too much with wings?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yes, it's getting out of control. That's not even a bike no more. It's like, what is this?
I can't wait until 2027 when they get rid of all these wings, man, or at least reduce them significantly, because some of these aero packages, for one, they're ugly. Like some of the bikes don't even look like bikes, man. They just look ugly.
Remember back in the days when people couldn't do all the fancy stuff to cars, and they'll kind of Reynolds wrap the silver on the side of cars, all this stuff, and people try to paint their car or make their own spoiler. It's gonna give some people on motorcycles bad ideas. I mean, we're gonna start seeing some street bikes doing some weird stuff.
Dude, I from the first time that I saw the Ducati Hammerhead, I don't know if you remember that upper fairing. It was the first fairing that had aero built into it. It's called the Ducati Hammerhead. From the first time I saw that, I said, this is the dumbest shit that you can do to this sport. And if they let it pass, little by little, they're going to push the limits of what they can do with these to the point where it's just going to be ridiculous. And this is what we are.
We're at that point.
We're at that point. Yeah. And we got bikes that look like stegosauruses that just have spines sticking out everywhere, things sticking out everywhere. And it's just not even to the benefit of your rider. It's to the disbenefit of the rider behind you. You're literally doing that just so you could throw dirty air behind you so nobody could draft you, to make it more difficult to pass. And all that's going to do is make the rider behind you make a more sketchy pass on you.
Right.
Because now I got to break out from behind you because I can't get that draft and make a nice, clean pass. So now I got to do some sketchy shit, come from 4 bikes behind, stand you up in the middle of the corner because you didn't give me clean air to pass you, even though you're slower. Your bike mechanically made my bike less aerodynamic. So now I got to, as a rider, just have bigger balls and put it into the corner and maybe punch you into the third row. And that's your fault for putting all that crazy shit on the back of your bike. Get rid of that shit and let's race straight up.
Right.
Anything you want to add?
I agree. I mean, I agree, man. Get rid of this, man. It's like we got so much electronics, it's all the aero package. It's like I'll be so happy when they put it back into the riders' hands and make the actual riders ride, and you'll actually see who can actually really ride again. You'll be actually see who can really ride and really do what they do. Because all you got to do is twist the throttle and go, and then let go, twist. There's no play in it. There's nothing. It's just twist.
Yeah.
And it makes it look crazy.
And the more mechanical things you put to a bike, that's just more stuff that can also break.
That's right.
Again, this weekend, as many people shit on Casey Stoner, the Casey Stoner is probably one of the most naturally gifted riders of all time. Like the dude could go fast on bikes that nobody else can go fast on. I mean, he crashed a lot, don't get me wrong, but he could go fast on bikes nobody else can make even turn a corner. And even him, he'll tell you the saddest part is that the kids growing up now are never going to know what it's like to ride a bike without rider aids. Like Marc Marquez might be the last rider in MotoGP that rode bikes without rider aids. He came up in the 125 class. He raced in the 250 class. He raced in these 2-stroke classes where they didn't have all these rider aids. He came into MotoGP when there were rider aids, but they weren't at the point they're at now. I mean, this weekend they introduced this new stability control system.
Right.
It's like, at what point do you let the rider ride?
Well, I think they can probably make a hamburger while they're riding.
Yeah, dude. What's next? Just replace the rider, man. Make them autonomous. if you have so much data, then just take the rider off and let the bikes ride, and we'll just sit back. And it's like back in the day when we were little kids and we had that little racetrack with the little stick, and the cars would just go around the little racetrack, and all we did was hit a button on and off to make sure that our car didn't go flying off the track. It's getting to that point with the bikes. We could just line the bikes up, and somebody could just be like, gas, no gas, gas, no gas.
I'm going to close out the show, and we're going to talk back about that a little bit with gaming and stuff like that. But like KTM, I mean, Brad Bender looked really good out there. We mentioned Bastianini. Obviously, Acosta seems to be doing well. Is this just home Grand Prix? Or these it was good to see Brad finally be competitive, not just kind of hoping he gets in top 10.
I always tell you that there's that home track.
You want that one?
That home track 310s is a real thing, man. You got to remember, this is a track that KTM tests on constantly. This is a track that KTM calls their backyard. It's their home track. I mean, they have a ton of data here. So they're going to have that little bit of extra competitive advantage here. But Acosta, even before this round, has been showing that he is getting better. Mm-hmm. Maverick, before he got hurt, he was showing he's getting better. The only two that really continue to struggle have been Binder and Bastianini. And Bastianini started this race really good, and then mistakes, man. That's the only thing that cost him, is he started making mistakes, getting overly aggressive, running off track, doing all the little things that people that get desperate because they feel like, I'm not in this position normally. And they just go that extra level and mess it up for themselves. If he had just ridden a little bit more relaxed, he would have been in the top 7, I think. No problem. But he pushed that extra little bit, and it cost him. But again, it's a home track. Let's see how they do it the next track. We know KTM's fast. So if you got a track that's got long straightaways and gets rid of a lot of side or edge grip necessity, they're going to do good there.
Okay. Well, I'll throw this one to you, Reese. Joan Mir finished 6th, and that might have been a win for him. He looked good out there. What are your thoughts on Mir? Honda, I think the Japanese brands in general struggled. I mean, your brand, if you want to talk about them, because they seem to not have the what is the shortcut key, up, left, right,
down, left, right.
They struggle horribly, and it's tough to see as a Yamaha fan. But what are your thoughts on Mir? I think Mir, I'll say this, I think Mir had the potential to do this at other races where he's gotten taken out. So it's good to see him get a top 6, but I think he might have been there sooner.
I mean, you hit it on the head. I mean, no one took him out. And it's like every round, someone's just it's like a target on his back. It just, there go Mir, take him out. It's just a target on the kid's back, man. I mean, I was happy to see him up there and actually finish a race and not someone take him out. But at the end of the day, that's the issue you're going to have when you're in that back marker section. You're going to get that last 15 and less. Mm-hmm. You're going to be back there. You're back there, man.
Meat grinder area.
Right. You're in the jungle back there, man. That's what I say. Get the heck out of there. And as long as you're back there, you're going to you have a potential of getting taken out. That's where you're at. And, I struggle to see the Jap brands back there, and it was heartbreaking to see all of them back there, especially us. It was heartbreaking. I've never seen nothing like that. And it's funny because literally the next day, I think Yamaha, what was it, Massimir or whatever his name is, put a statement out online and tried to apologize. I said, Jesus Christ.
I think it's a different time now. Apologies accepted. I mean, back in the day, they used to be a lot worse.
Yeah. Back in the day, somebody would take a sword out and sit on it for the failure that they made to the company, for dishonoring the brand.
How many more apologies are we going to get, though? Man, get your butt up there. What is going on?
And is it, obviously we're not on the inside to know, is it just, they're just behind? I mean, is that what it is? Just because, they allowed the European brands just to get that head start from years ago and they just still playing catch up, or you think they just don't want to spend the money?
I think it's like a little bit of everything. They don't want to. It's like scared to spend the money. But then I used to hear the Jap people. It's like they have a rule like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I'm at this point like, hey, it's broke, fix it. You know. So like it's like they've been at this stage since Rossi. Rossi's told them a while ago. Then Quattraro came around and told them the same thing, and they didn't want to believe it because Quattraro won, and hey, we're up here, and I'm looking like now they're fine. It's like they're seeing it, but it's like you're late. You know, you should have been had a V4 out. You should have been had this out. You should have been into this era. You know, and I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, between Honda and Yamaha, I'm going to say that Honda is one step ahead of Yamaha right now because Yamaha refuses to adopt the European style of producing new parts versus Honda has started to embrace the European style of producing new parts by not going all the way to Japan to ask for the parts, but producing them in Europe and testing them a little bit faster. So I think the overall turnaround time for Honda to develop and try new parts has shrunk down quite a bit versus Yamaha still has their methodology where, you know, we talk about the part, we develop it in Japan, we test it in Japan, we do this, we do that, and then we put it on the bike and test it on the bike, and then we put it into practice. And Honda's
process.
Yeah, it's too long of a process. And I think Honda, with the new system that they have, has cut that down significantly. So they bring more parts a little bit sooner and they try things, and they already have a strong motor. They have a strong power plant. You know, it's not like they're still racing an inline 4 with a cross plane crank that makes really good sound but doesn't make great horsepower. You know, you go to a V motor, you make good horsepower and you also make a good sound. So I think Honda is one step ahead of Yamaha right now. But I'm really hoping that going into the end of this year, Yamaha will just pull the trigger, put their motor into effect, and then over the off season, refine the motor and start working on it next year. And realistically, I think their plan is similar to Honda's plan. I don't think that they're going to really be competitive until 2027. I think everything they're doing now is to get them ready for that new 2027 era of MotoGP.
The only problem with that is, I mean, like you got your riders, which is Quattraro signed, and you're going to lose him, you know, after the end of the year.
That's what the Brinks truck is for, bro.
How much you man?
As soon as it starts coming up your driveway, you hear beep, beep, beep. Wait, how much is that? I'm good right here, man. Take as much as I want off the truck. Bet. I'll stay right here. I'll ride this shit box another year.
Tossing the keys to the truck, everything.
How much money can really possibly take to keep staying way back here in the back?
Yeah, well, I mean,
I know guys losing at races for $0. I'll lose for millions of dollars.
I don't know how true it is, but it seems like Marquez gave up like over 20 euros to leave Honda and so forth to make that change. So
200 euro. 200 million.
Jesus.
But he just signed it hasn't come out yet, but he just signed a marketing agreement with a company.
Yep.
And that's worth 250 million euros.
Gotcha.
So he just got it back.
So sometimes, you know, he invested in himself by not making money because he knew later on the money, I'll make money.
He's not getting it back.
Nah.
He lost that 200. He ain't getting it back. He got another 250, but it ain't the same 250.
It ain't the same 250. It would have been 200 plus 250. Now it's just 250.
Now it's 250.
And you know, we talking about the money and stuff like that. You know, and we see it in you know, sports in the U.S., Major League Sports in the U.S., pro sports in the U.S. People chase rings and stuff like that. At what point does Quattraro say, "Hey, I want another championship"? The Brinks truck doesn't matter. What, you know, can he be a Marc Marquez and say that? I mean, he doesn't have the accolades, so can he even, you know, is he even in that situation where he could even think like that, much less talk like that? He's staying with Yamaha.
Well, all right, let's change the way that you ask that question. Let's ask it like this, Reese. What other bike that's competitive wants Fabio Quartararo?
Ducati.
Who would Ducati have to get rid of to put him on a Ducati?
They ain't getting rid of nobody
Alex
though.
Marquez.
They won't get rid of. I mean, Alex is on a satellite team that loves him, and he wins for them.
And
You're not gonna get rid of Aldegar. The only person you're gonna get rid of is Becca.
You're not getting rid of Morbidelli, and you're not getting rid of Digi.
And you're not going to see him on a VR46 Ducati.
And
No.
Ducati has to roll with Pecco because he got him 2 titles after that long off time. They can't just. I mean, they could, but it's going to be tough. I think they'd rather pull Pecco out every 5-10 years from now and do the long lap races like they did this past.
So then again, where would Quartararo go? Honda?
I would say Aprilia.
I don't think there'll be a seat at Aprilia. If Martin does as good as he should do, and Bezzecchi continues to do what he's doing, I mean, Martin kind of burned that team, so there might be a shot at Aprilia because they might want to get rid of him after that after that year that contract is up.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen, like what Lorenzo and what happened with Lorenzo and Ducati. Even if Martin wins 10 races next year, I think they'll probably still say the damage is done.
They might.
Possibility.
They might. It's a big possibility.
So yeah, I think the only option would be. I think Honda would give him the money, but I think that it would only be Aprilia. If not, he has to stay with Ducati. I mean, Yamaha.
I mean, you go to Honda, he's still going to be back there, right there in the same bunch. He's still going to be back there and pissed off more, and then that's a sinking. You just go on.
Quartararo has one championship, right?
Yep.
He only has one.
Yep.
One.
Dude, so does Mir.
Yep.
But
that was
you're special, but you ain't that special.
Mir won on a freaking season nobody even watched.
W's a W, man.
Come on, man. I watched.
It's like the only shit I could do. I was stuck inside house arrest for a year.
I grew up in Boston, but I still respect the 95 Spurs or 96 Spurs when they had that half a season because of the lockout and won.
So you still respect the Lakers for winning in the freaking bubble?
Oh yeah. That's because that's pure basketball, right? I mean, and that's the thing. I think that a lot of that's pure basketball because they had to play every game. So it's not like it was just all game. So the people who had the right mentality could survive in that situation, and the ones that couldn't drove to Atlanta and went to get fried chicken.
Yep. I don't think Quartararo outside of Aprilia has many opportunities. KTM is not going to be a good place for him. Honda is not going to be a great play for him. I don't think there's going to be a spot for him at Ducati. So if he left Yamaha, his only choices would be Aprilia or possibly Honda, and that's it. And so are you really leaving for a much more competitive package? Because Aprilia is definitely not a company that has pockets as deep as Yamaha, whereas Honda does have deeper pockets. But Honda right now doesn't have the most stable, best package. So, I mean, if I was Quartararo, man, I would really just keep doing what I'm doing, going to the press, fighting my battles in front of the cameras, pressuring Yamaha to develop the bike, to come with the new motor, to do this, to do that, and, kind of just grin and bear it, man, because there's not a lot of opportunities out there that are going to put you on a championship winning package.
Yeah, I agree. And I think there's some, sometimes it's good to stay with one team for a very long time. And they'll make an anniversary bike for him because he's the last guy at the moment to bring a championship to Yamaha. So that still stands, means something.
Do you think that they're going to get rid of, because there's been talk this week about Yamaha cutting Rins's contract early and not renewing, getting out of it this year?
Yeah, I would say after this weekend, he's safe because they all was bad. So
they all
but
can't fire me. We all suck.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for helping me out, guys.
Can't fire everybody.
It's tough after this one, but we got 8 more rounds to go, so we shall see. We haven't talked about Martin. He crashed out. He, what do you, is it? I mean, I think Pecco's having such a horrible season, and now that he's back racing, he's kind of like, the stepchild that nobody's paying attention to, right? Because it's kind of like he is the world champion, but it's the 2023 world champion that we're talking about more than him.
But he's on a perfect color, redheaded stepchild. He's on a red bike, and he's a stepchild. He's fit perfectly. He fits the mold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about him. He hasn't done anything. You can't really say much. I think that number 1 plate on that Aprilia looks pretty stupid every time it goes away in the crash truck.
I mean, technically, he should. If I was him, I would have just stayed with my number on the plate on the bike. It looks better going away in the crash truck. I mean, how many times have you even seen the number 1 plate on? I have not seen the number 1 plate finish a race
I have not seen the number 1 plate on
Jorge Lorenzo.
Did he have a number? Did he run a number 1 plate?
So he did something. He took number 11 and he combined it into a number 1, but it was still a number 11, but it looked like a number 1.
Oh, okay.
Number 1. Yep.
But nobody that wins, very few people, like we talked about this a while ago, very few people that win a championship put number 1 on their bike.
Right.
Because you're branded by your own personal number.
Yeah.
I sell number 93 merchandise. I sell number 46 merchandise. I sell number 11 merchandise. I don't sell number 1 merchandise.
Right.
I think he did it obviously out of spite for not getting the factory ride, and he wanted to show he was a better rider and blah, 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 blah. But here we are, 8 months into his career with Aprilia. He hasn't finished, 2 races? 3 races, I think.
Yeah.
I think he finished like a sprint race, 2 sprint races, and 1 actual race. And, and I said this about Pecco as well. These 2 guys were locked in a battle where it was the best bike with the most competent riders, not the best riders on the best bike. And now you got the best rider on the best bike, and it's showing how these other competent riders were in a 2-man battle because nobody else was on as good a bike as they were. And now you got Marquez, and he's just stepping in, and he's just like, hey, by the way, this is how you're supposed to ride this bike. You guys should have been doing this for years. But, for some reason, you guys couldn't because you're inconsistent as shit. You would crash randomly for no reason. You would do this, you would do that. Here I am at the halfway point of the season, and I already have more points now than I had all last year combined.
Right.
And I still got half a season to go. At this rate, I might finish with 700 points.
Right. But, the interesting thing about Marquez, and Aldeguer said this about, or maybe his manager said this because they said to Marquez that be careful on Sunday. Aldeguer might be there, and Aldeguer was saying that he looks over all the data, Marquez, so he already knew, and it's just like for a guy who's 8 world titles and stuff like that, he's not afraid to look at other people's data to go faster.
No, I mean, again, when talent decides to work hard, nobody's going to beat hard-working talent. The dude, and we said this a couple of races ago, when he realized that, I forgot what race it was, but he was calculating his head based on the times that he knew that this person was riding during the qualifying and practice. And he kind of calculated in his head, well, if I do this for this many laps and blah, 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 at the end of the race, I should win by this much.
Yeah.
So while other guys are just trying to make the corner and hit the apex, he's over here doing advanced geometry, mathematics, chemistry.
He's doing everything else in his head.
The weather, understanding tire pressure, to know, hey, I got to do this and this because during the races or during the practice, this guy showed glimmers of this and that during this stretch where he ran, 14 consecutive laps within this range. And it was on a used tire because I know it's on a used tire because I saw his data and I saw Like the dude's just at that next level of like, I gotta beat everybody, but I gotta know exactly how I'm gonna beat everybody.
Right.
Like that's like a Michael Jordan level.
I was gonna say, like, should we just kick Marquez out of MotoGP? I mean, because you
And go
mentioned
where?
that. Let me finish here a little bit. You mentioned that how long he's been around, right? And it's like, well, he didn't fear Rossi. He didn't fear Lorenzo. He didn't fear all these other riders, and we're pretty much saying like the riders in from 1996, up. The best riders on the grid they're not riding anymore. Is that fair to say? Like all the guys, if we add them all up between the Doviziosos and all these guys back then to these new young riders now, if I'm not fearing Michael Jordan, like how am I going to feel LeBron James? Or not even LeBron James, because there's no LeBron James of motorcycle racing. If Marquez is Kobe, there's no LeBron James in MotoGP right now. Maybe Acosta, maybe Aldeguer. How's Marquez going to feel? Like he's not fearing Pecco or Martin or any of these riders when he had to face people like Rossi and Lorenzo and Dovizioso.
Yeah, but I don't think he feared them either, man.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like he didn't fear them. So like, how is he gonna fear? He's not fearing these kids.
And he shouldn't.
No.
A great white shark doesn't fear any other sharks.
Marquez is the last of the dying breed. He's the last alien that we have. He is the last one. After him, that's it. There is no more.
Yeah, after him, we'll get Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martins.
Yep.
Guys that are really good on the right bike and have flashed their brilliance for like 1 or 2 years and then drop off, get fat, have too many parties in Ibiza, whatever. Like they're not guys that, finish the season and before the champagne is cool, they're already thinking about what am I going to do next season to repeat this. Like I can tell you right now, when Marquez wins this championship, he's going to celebrate the shit out of winning that championship. And 3 days later, he's going to be figuring out how am I going to win the next one.
Right.
Because this job ain't done. Because next year, I start from zero again. Right. I start with 0 points. I start with 0 miles. I start with 0 everything. I start with 0. And I have to go back and do this again. How am I going to do that? And I think that's what drives him. And if you got that kind of drive for competitiveness to be the best, it's real hard to beat that, man. I don't think everybody says they line up on Sunday because they want to win. 90% of the grid, as much as they want to win in their hearts, they also know they're not going to win.
Right.
So you already lost.
you probably sitting there like, yo, I hope this kid goes down. If he goes down, I might have a chance.
Yeah.
Or a DNF. Like you already lost right there. You psychologically lost.
Front row, Marc Marquez. I'm going to win this. If this guy is in this place with 4 laps left, I got to do this. If that guy's in this place with 5 laps left, I got to do that. If the guy behind me is in first place with 7 laps left, he knows what he's got to do for every guy behind him on the grid. Maybe not Rins, because he knows Rins is not going to be up there, but pretty much every other guy on the grid.
Hey, man.
Rins need to just go sit at home.
Rins just have it pretty tough. Man, we got I think we probably let's talk about the next round real quick. I was hoping to talk about Moto 2. I think we spoke about that Jake Dixon is going to World Superbike next year.
Canet is taking Jake's spot on VDS.
Yeah, VDS, which is pretty good. It's good to see him stick around, even though he can't get a ride in MotoGP. I think
nope.
I love World Superbike, but it doesn't have the same audience that MotoGP has, and and hopefully one day it will. But he has a better chance of having sponsors and getting his brand out there by sticking around another 2 years. And he could be like Zarco. I think Zarco was 26, 27 when he got his back-to-back championship. So you never know.
What was that, like 22 years ago?
These young boys are fast, man. These young rookies and young boys in Moto 2, man. It's pretty wild to see. Alonso and these guys. It seems like we were talking about this in Motor as far as the MotoAmerica riders, the kids that, like, I don't want to say first generation, but before these folks that are in super sport now. It's the same thing we're seeing in Moto 2. Like, you would think the Jake Dixons, Celestino Viete, and all these guys would be the top of the food chain pretty much for the whole season. But we're not seeing that. We're seeing these young kids figure it out, and they're putting it to them, race in and race out.
Well, this is what you just said. They don't have any fear. Like, these young kids don't have any respect for the Jake Dixons or the Canets or anybody else. I'm here to ride, man. I can keep up with you. I can pass you. If I can catch you, you're not an object. You're an object until I catch you. Once I catch you, you're an obstacle. I got to get by you. And that's how these kids see it, man. They don't look at the number and be like, oh, that's Jake Canet in front. I don't give a bad. I'm about to put another tattoo on him, man, when I pass him.
All right. These young kids have zero fear, man. They could care less. Like, it's just, they're on a different mindset. They're just like, I don't care who you are. They have no respect for anybody that's above them. They're just like, I'm going here to win. I want the money. I want this. I want that. That's their mindset.
Which is a
crazy.
good mindset, man. That's what you want from, young kid, man. You want to see that he's hungry, he's got talent, he's going to do what he has to do. That's why I said I don't see a Jake Dixon or a Canet going to GP when I got a kid that's 7, 8 years younger than you that's beating your ass now. Yeah. Well, I'm going to bring you.
Yeah, hunger.
Diego's crazy, man. He's wilding, man. It's pretty crazy to see. A lot of rookies that are stepping up. So, what are your thoughts on the Hungarian round? It's going to be new for everybody. Is it going to be a big crash fest? Also, what are your thoughts on Didier's bike blowing up like that? Should that have been a red flag?
You want that one, Lou?
No, you can take that one. Because I'm going to say something about Ducati, and then Rex is going to get upset. And I don't need to get Rex upset.
No, okay.
Did he damage
more
the
Volkswagen stock? That's all.
Did he damage the air fence, or he didn't damage the air fence, right?
No, he didn't damage the air fence.
So that's why it wasn't red flagged. If he had damaged the air fence, they might have red flagged it because that's a sketchy area. That's why there's air fence there. But since it wasn't damaged, that's why I didn't red flag it.
I mean, with his bike blowing up, I mean, I thought they would have, because if you'd have watched, but the good thing, he was off the race line all the way to the far end. But you don't know if he spilled any kind of fluid down, nothing, because that was a bunch of smoke that came out of that bike. Yeah. And caught on fire. Once he pulled it off to the side, they had to come put the fire out on it.
Right.
So that was kind of sketchy.
They need to do some more fire extinguisher training. Those first two guys,
dude, they suck.
Get the pin out,
dude.
I was like, you work for Yamaha or Honda? What's going on?
I forgot what race it was. I don't know how. Maybe one of you guys remember. There was a race that the fire was so bad that the rider was actually picking up dirt and throwing it on the bike because the guys didn't know how to pull the pin on the fire extinguisher, like the corner marshal. And again, I mean, you know this. Most tracks, the corner marshals are all volunteers. They literally pick them up the week before and say, you're going to work this corner. And they give them all like 15 minutes worth of training of what they're supposed to do. I mean, that poor guy probably never pulled a fire extinguisher in his life, man. And you can tell because he was hey, we just let it burn. It'll burn itself out.
Like, pull the pin and squeeze. Sheesh.
Oh, it was tough to see, and that was my thoughts. It was like, is there any fluid on the track or anything? Obviously, when everybody went around, we knew it wasn't, but that was the only other part. But it was definitely a big plume of smoke on that bike.
Yeah. I mean, it went up well. Ducati's burned nicely.
It's tough, man. It's tough when that's how your weekend end. I to go back to the next round, which is this weekend coming up, is kind of status quo going to be the top 6 guys that we're seeing: the Marquez, Acosta, Bezzecchi, maybe Bastianini in there. I can't even throw Morbidelli or Digi in there right now, or Bagnaia at the moment.
Morbidelli? What?
I can't throw them in there at the moment because they're all,
You can't. No, I think it's gonna be Mark. Bastianini's coming off a high, so I got to throw him in there, and then Aldeguer he's once you're on that high horse, you can ride that wave for a little bit. And Aldeguer's on that high horse and being fast. So I have to give it to either him or maybe Alex may step back up and say, all right, I can follow my brother and I can get back in this hunt.
Yeah. Listen, Aldeguer kind of jabbed Mark a little bit. He's just like, hey, man, listen, I'm young. That's an advantage for me. So, I felt good. I was fast this past weekend. I was surprised, but, I'm young. So, I'm coming for you, Mark.
For me, I think
he's young.
Yeah, he's got a lot to learn though. Still, the good thing is he's learning from the Marquez brothers, so that's a positive for him. But he's still not at the Marquez brothers on a regular basis. Like he could have a great weekend here and there, but he's not in and out every weekend at the tip of the sword here. This being a new track for everybody, it'll level the playing field a little bit, but I still think it's going to be Mark. I think it's still going to be, I think Bez is going to continue on his streak. I think he's really proven that he's got the right package. And from what I understand, this is another point and shoot slow track. From the feedback that the riders are given, there's a lot of slow corners. There's a lot of straightaways. There's not a lot of time on the edge of the tire. So, Bez has definitely got the package to do that. And because it's a point and shoot type of track, it's another opportunity for Acosta to maybe get on the podium with the KTM. Okay. So I think that's my top 3, and then my wild card, if I got to pick a wild card, is probably going to be Aldeguer again.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Yep.
One last thing before we get out of here, and you mentioned this, we were talking about the electronics and stuff like that, and I was thinking about this then and probably over the weekend. Is there, we saw this with the Gran Turismo game, where kids could play that game and they were able to go racing. Is it possible for people to play racing video games on motorcycle and then possibly have a future in motorcycle racing?
Hell no.
Okay.
Hell no.
You sitting in a car. The dynamics of racing a motorcycle are much different than sitting in a car, man. Like you can maybe you can learn, like a lot of riders that have never been to certain tracks, they'll watch video of the track to understand the layout of the track and see brake markers and things like that. But in motorcycle racing, your body is a very important part of the overall dynamics of the bike. In car racing, you just strap yourself in as much as possible so you barely move. The only thing that moves is your fingers and the steering wheel. That's it. On a motorcycle,
you gotta work out your neck muscles and and stuff.
Yeah, bro. You've been on a bike. On a bike, you get off the bike. If you're not in good shape, you're gonna feel that shit for a couple of days because you're hanging off the bike. You're putting all the weight on your outer leg. You're putting weight on your outer. You're trying to keep the weight off your inner leg. You're trying to brake and you're bracing yourself as you're braking, but then you got to loosen up. You got to move this. Like my back's hurting doing it in the chair right now. I mean, like my little electric massager thingy after this, man. I think I got a knot.
Oh my God!
Just figure all that, man.
I do have one thing to say, because since yesterday, I think I've been asked close to 100 times about Aldeguer's boot. So here's the thing.
I saw your comment.
Motorcycle boots are not for stopping. They're for being on the foot peg. Aldeguer goes through 3 pair of boots a weekend.
Wow.
So he goes through boots the same way most people go through knee sliders. Okay? Because the way that he has adapted himself to racing is he drags both his feet, not just his right foot. Sometimes he'll drag his left foot based on what the brake markers are. And he doesn't drag it for 10 feet. This dude drags it for like 20 yards. So if you drag your foot 300 yards every race, you're going to go through your toes. You're going to go through your soles. So we resole his shoes constantly, as well as we resole Celine's. We resole Tony Aberlino's. We resole, like, we literally give these guys 4 boots at the beginning of the weekend, take 3 of the boots back, get those resold, give them other boots for the next weekend while those are getting resold. And then we keep rotating these boots until we just give them new boots again.
Wow.
And, we're developing a bunch of different ways of like changing the sole compound. On some of the riders, we actually try to put like a replaceable metal plate, but then you put the replaceable metal plate and now the rider is complaining that he doesn't have as much feel in his foot. Like, it's sliding too much. So now I can't feel what I'm normally used to feeling when I put my foot down. So it has nothing to do with us not making good boots. It has to do with boots are not made for stopping a motorcycle. That's what brakes are for. And even in MotoAmerica, look at DeMario. DeMario has that same European style of foot sliding. DeMario runs through his boots like water. Has nothing to do with the boots. It has to do with the fact that boots aren't made to stop a motorcycle. Brakes are. And so we're trying to develop different compounds and different methodology, but it's also something you have to work with the riders on, because you can't take away the feel from their foot when they're on the foot peg or anything else to try to compensate for the fact that they're burning through the soles. And you can only make the soles so thick before the rider looks like they're on, in pumps and ready to go, go-go dancing. So you got to find that balance.
I think you need to go explain that to Michelin for Pecco.
No.
Why he doesn't have.
But, but all the online engineers and physicists, and again, I've said this before, for some reason, when you get a motorcycle license, is the only license that comes with a master's degree in physics, a master's degree in engineering, a master's degree in mathematics, in manufacturing. Like, you get a motorcycle license, all of a sudden you know everything. No, you don't.
Yeah.
And if you do know everything, start your own boot company and let me know how that goes for you, man. Because guess what?
For real.
All the other manufacturers have the same exact problem we have. The only thing is that their guys aren't on the podium with their toe sticking out. Their guys are in the pit box complaining about not being on the podium with their toes sticking out. So
it's a badge of honor.
The badge of honor. We're on the podium. Toes a little visible.
With your toes sticking out.
With the toes sticking out. But you're on the podium.
You're on the podium.
So the boot was good enough to get you on the podium.
That's right. There you go. 95% of it.
95% of it is the boot, man.
Guys, I want to thank you for coming on, man. Look forward to next week. I'm looking forward to this race coming up because it should be crazy. We got 8 rounds left of MotoGP. Anything can happen as we're seeing. So definitely looking forward to it. I want to thank you, Lewis and Reese. My name is Rex 45. It's the Be Forever Cool podcast. Peace.
Take care.
Peace.